U.S. states demand school phone bans. It may be difficult. As a middle school teacher, Nancy Streit knows how hard it is to compete with a smartphone for a child's attention. However, as a mother, she realizes the devices are essential in emergencies. It's mostly the parents calling, she says, adding that students break her phone ban. This week, Ms. Streit's Los Angeles school system, the second largest in the nation, banned smartphone use. As more U.S. states and schools consider how to handle children's electronics addiction, it's a familiar theme. California and New York, two of the most populous U.S. states, are considering new statewide rules. This week, California Governor Gavin Newsom called for a classroom. New York Governor Kathy Hochul supports a similar measure. Indiana's governor issued a classroom ban this spring for the fall. The attempts are the latest in a protracted discussion over classroom smartphone use and come amid pandemic-related concerns about teenage mental health. Most U.S. schools have phone policies. The U.S. Department of Education reported that 76% of schools banned non-academic use in 2021-2022. The Louisiana-based regulations expand on that. LA Grade 6 teacher Rafaela Hodges says she has noticed a worrying and dramatic change in children's socialization. When they're uncomfortable, they pick up the phone, she told BBC. Republican and Democratic legislators in similar states endorse similar ideas on this rare bipartisan issue. Florida legislation obliged school districts to ban phones from classrooms and block social media on school Wi-Fi last year. The law mandates schools to teach the social, emotional, and physical effects of social media. Individual districts in Maine, Virginia, Ontario, and Alberta are also tightening phone use laws. A long-running debate since phones were introduced, there has been little consensus and much controversy about them in classrooms. Since the 1980s, the U.S. has tried to outlaw communication devices in schools. Early critics worried about phones distracting pupils and linking them to drug trafficking. After the 1999 Columbine high school tragedy, which killed 13, some parents and schools reconsidered phones as emergency communication tools. California lifted a phone prohibition in 2002. Schools saw phones as a distraction, a tool for cyberbullying, and a way for pupils to cheat on homework, reigniting the argument. In 2015, New York, which has over 1 million pupils, lifted its stringent ban to let schools choose their own regulations. Social media and student mental health. The current wave of rules comes as experts worry about student mental health and social media. One of America's top health officials advocated for social media warning labels like those on cigarette cartons on Monday. Though research is divided, Surgeon General Vivek Murthy claimed that social media raised the chances of anxiety and depression in youngsters. You've got a situation where kids are not only trying to learn but they're simultaneously on their phones, they're texting their friends, they're replying to messages on social media, they're scrolling through their feeds, Dr. Murthy told BBC. It makes it very difficult not only to learn, but it makes it hard in school to build relationships and friendships. A 2019 study referenced by federal health authorities found that adolescents who spend more than 3 hours a day on social media are twice as likely to develop anxiety and depression. Will it work? Will the policy change last? Safety and social media control have long been a challenge in schools. National School Safety and Security Services President Ken Trump said measures need community support and consistent enforcement to work. It's more complicated than most parents or outsiders realize. It's a nasty problem with many complexity, said Mr. Trump. Board members in Los Angeles voted Tuesday to prohibit the devices next year. Exactly how the policy will work is unclear. Alyssa, 18, from Los Angeles, where many high schools have thousands of students, told the BBC she could not picture high school without a phone. "We have huge campuses, no one can monitor all that," she said. "There are tons of places to hide,